Good evening. Welcome everybody. This is quite different from most of our normal meetings, so thank you for coming out. So I'd like to call to order the January 25th, 2018 Plan and Zoning Board of Appeals meeting at 7:04. Jen, roll call, please.
Chairman Dash.
Here.
Commissioner Kempa.
Here.
Commissioner DeGraff.
Here.
Commissioner Tamman.
Here.
Commissioner Patel.
Here.
Commissioner Mellon.
Here.
Okay, so let the record reflect that a quorum is present this evening. The first item of business is consideration of the November 16th, 2017 PZBA meeting minutes. Are there any comments, changes, or corrections to the minutes as presented? Okay, if no changes, do I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
I'll make a motion. Second.
Jen, roll call, please.
Commissioner Kempa.
Aye.
Commissioner DeGraff.
Aye.
Commissioner Tamman.
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon.
Aye.
Commissioner Patel.
Aye.
Chairman Dash.
Aye. Okay. So we are going to start with old business, PZBA, zoning public hearing, case number ZBA 17-13TA. And the applicant is the City of Prospect Heights at 8 North Elmhurst Road, Prospect Heights, Illinois, 60070. And the description of the request, the applicant is seeking a text amendment in regard to various changes and additions related to commercial vehicle parking in the R1 residential district. So I would like a motion to reopen the public hearing for application number ZBA 17-13TA.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So what we're going to do this evening, anticipating that most of you may be wanting to present testimony, is I'm going to swear everybody in all at once in lieu of doing it individually as you come up. Okay? So if you could stand up, and if you plan to speak this evening, if you could raise your right hand. Okay? Do you swear that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay. So then when you do come forward this evening, all you'll need to do is state your name and address for the record. And we do take meeting minutes, so if you could speak slowly with your name and address, that will certainly help us document that properly. I will get to that here. And actually, you know, before we get started, I do want to make just a few comments. I do feel that certain parts of the code could certainly use some improvement, but I do also believe that our city is largely made up of hardworking and productive citizens, which I think we also need to be respectful of. And as any applicant that would come, but I do also want to state that as a board, as anybody that would come before us with a text amendment, the city will still have to prove that the standards for a text amendment are met. In that regards, it would be, you know, a net impact would benefit the entire community, and that there is certainly a need for this proposal. So now I'd like to ask Director Peterson to present the case on behalf of the city.
Good evening, Chairman Dash and the PZBA members. Tonight I'm before you with the text amendment application on behalf of the City of Prospect Heights, proposing various changes to the additional parking regulations of the zoning code, section 8.5, excuse me, it should be, I had a typo on there, my mistake, it's 5-8-2 of the zoning code. This particular section relates to the parking of commercial vehicles. The timeline of how this came about is at the June 12, 2017 City Council meeting, there was a discussion between home occupations and commercial vehicles. The council directed staff to provide a summary of the commercial vehicle parking requirements at that time. Staff then, at the July 10th meeting, provided a summary report to City Council. We highlighted, and I'll go through the presentation, the PowerPoint this evening, of what some of the issues with some of the commercial parking regulations are currently as they are today, and what is happening in the city. At the close of the meeting, Mayor Helmer assigned a committee to work with staff in reviewing and making recommendations. At the October 9th City Council's workshop meeting, The proposed changes were highlighted with city council, and at that time, it was directed to proceed with the text amendment application for public hearing. At the November 16th meeting, the city requested a continuance to allow for public notification as we realized that the impacts of the proposed changes would hit a lot of folks in town, and that the process for notification that the normal standards are would not give the general public an opportunity to hear or listen, and this could have been passed without input from the community. So we asked for continuance. That led to the summary of changes that were put into the winter newsletter to make sure that our citizens knew what the changes being proposed were. And then that brings us to tonight's meeting, and where we're going to highlight what the code is today, what those changes are, and what the impacts are, and then hear from the public to that regard, and see if we can move forward with amending the code. Our commercial vehicle regulations in the city of Prospect Heights allows for the parking of vans, trucks, and commercial vehicles up to a gross vehicle weight of 8,000 pounds. Under the state of Illinois, that's a Class B designation. Everything's legal. If you have a B-plate van or pickup truck, you can park it on your driveway, no issues as it is today. Our code does address vehicles' gross weight between 8,001 and 12,000 pounds. Under the state of Illinois, that's a Class D designation. According to this current code, they shall be parked in a garage or a fully enclosed structure, except one may be on the driveway as long as it's screened. We also say that it should be behind the front line of the house, side yard or rear yard. And then there is an exception, which means that one can be in a non-garage site. It can't be parked within 5 feet of any lot line, which is your side yard, and they should be screened from view to the adjacent property. Section 582A2 allows no more than 2 vehicles of any combination, commercial or recreational, to be parked in the open. So if you have a camper, a motorhome, a pull-behind trailer, and your D-plate truck, you could only have those 2 on your driveway at any given time, okay? So that's our current code. Our code also addresses vehicles in excess of 12,001 gross vehicle weight, and which is strictly prohibited. Those are F-plate trucks or larger. Here are some examples of vehicles we have in town. These are all vehicles that are registered as B plates by the state of Illinois and are legally currently to be parked on the driveways in the open in town. Here are examples of compliant D-plate vehicles. The top 2 show the vehicle parked at the side of the house behind the front building line, screening from the adjacent property. The D-plate truck at the bottom, and I'm sorry that the dais is blocking some of this, we tried to adjust, but that's a compliant parked on the driveway. It's got dense screening behind it. So those are all legal compliant vehicles per the code. These are examples of non-compliant D-plate vehicles. Parked out in the open with no screening, so therefore they would not be considered compliant per our current code. The one to the right, here we go. This one here, there's multiple vehicles, multiple trailers, all out in the open on the driveway. So that would not be a compliant condition under our current code. Now, here's a couple of examples of some plates that are not legal at all and should not be parked in town under any circumstances. The one here on the right, that's a boom truck. That's an H plate, which is 20,000 GVW and above. And in this picture, the van is actually a legal truck because it's a B plate, but the pickup is a dually with a F plate, which means it's in excess of 15,000 pounds GVW. So that the pickup truck is not permitted in town because of the plate designation. Now, we took a look at the code, and the committee looked at what do we want it to possibly be. So we first looked at 582A, which is the size of the vehicle. Oops, excuse me. Let's see here. All right, and currently you can have one D plate parked on the driveway. Proposed is no D plates at all parked on the driveway in front of the house. You can have them on your property, but they need to be to the side of the house or in the rear yard, behind the front building plate. So that will impact some folks today, because that's what the code really says should happen with D plates, is if you can't provide the screening, they have to be in the side or rear yard now to be compliant. So that's what that change would entail. Now, the other item is that if you park your D-plate vehicle in the side yard or rear yard, the code does not specify what type of a surface it can be parked on. So people could literally park on their grass, or gravel. We're recommending that the parking surface be either a concrete or asphalt or approved concrete paver surface, so you don't have mud, you don't have damage, it doesn't cause other issues. So we're looking at the 582A1A requiring a hard surface. The next section is, we've had a lot of issues from folks when we go to enforce the little complaints we get, that what is legal screening? And the current code basically says natural vegetation that will provide adequate screening. Well, lilac bushes this time of year don't provide adequate screening. So we're recommending that a solid wood fence or board-on-board fence 6 foot high, or a non-deciduous, an evergreen shrubbery, whether it's arborvitae, spruce, or dense screening along that side yard to provide adequate screening of that vehicle from the adjacent property. Additionally, it was added later that, the bottom two pictures, and I'm sorry you can't see, but the trucks that were parked to the side of the house that were legal, a gate would be required to block them from view from the properties across the street. Okay?
Alrighty, let's keep everyone's going to get a chance to come to the podium tonight. And just as an FYI, please, let's let Dan finish his presentation. And just so everyone knows, this is not something that Dan Peterson came up with himself, right? This was a collaboration with some other folks at the city. So listen, we're going to give everyone a chance to participate, okay? But let's give Dan the respect he deserves to provide the presentation for everybody. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the section that talks about no more than 2 vehicles, any combination, parked on the open. Because if we don't have a D plate permitted to be parked in the open, you don't need that section of the code. So you can still have your recreational vehicle, you can have your camper and that on the driveway, but this is not necessary if this code change does pass, because D plates wouldn't be allowed to be parked in the open. Now, our current code does not address the parking of trailers, construction equipment on trailers, storage of snow plows in the open. So this proposal would add a section that the parking and storage of trailers and equipment must be parked in a garage or an approved side or rear yard. Okay? Snow plows. We understand a lot of people have personal snow plow removal equipment that can be parked during the winter on the trucks, specified the dates. However, parking of the snow plows and stuff in the summertime would not be permitted on the driveway in the open. It should be there as it is now. Additionally, The current city code does not address signage, ladder racks, equipment, boom. We're just looking at the type of plate, whether it's a B plate or a D plate. So the committee had looked at addressing signage and ladder rack. The proposal would require any vehicle, B plate or D plate, that has signage or any of these pieces of equipment to be required to be parked on the side or in the rear yard on a hard surface. This is where a major impact to a lot of the community is going to happen. Understood that coming in, that's why we wanted to make sure everybody saw the update in the newsletter. These are examples of vehicles that are compliant. The white van here, the white van here, the signed van down in the corner, and the van with the rack here on this side. And again, I apologize because of the dais. Those which would now be considered compliant after the proposed language, if it does go forward, would need to be parked in the side yard of the property or the rear yard behind the front of the face of the building. With that, I conclude that part of the presentation. As the representative representing the city in this application, we do want to hear what everyone has to say. We do want to hear comments and understand that this is a work in progress, and that as the representative of the applicant, I would request a continuance of this matter so that we can take the comments that are heard tonight and work towards a solution. So we would ask that no action be taken on a formal vote tonight, but we do want to hear what the public has to say so that we can work to finding some solutions out there to the growing issue of the contractor vehicles. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
I think that asking for the continuance so that the comments we received tonight and potentially throughout the process can be taken into consideration, I think is a job well done. So we look forward to doing that. So as we take public comment tonight, we are going to limit each person to 4 minutes. And clearly there's going to be some repetitiveness this evening. But we are going to take copious notes. This meeting is being taped, so everything that happens tonight will be transcribed properly. So although I know there'll be some repetitiveness, if you could make your points, maybe hit your bullet point items, again, because I think a lot of people are going to be saying the same things, that'll help move things along as well. And if you have, let's say you're here with a group of neighbors and you want to send one person up to speak on behalf of maybe a few people on your street or a few people in your neighborhood, the person can certainly say this evening that they're here on behalf of the following people, in lieu of maybe all 4 or 5 of you speaking. So again, we're here to listen. We are going to cap it at 4 minutes, but we do want to hear as many people this evening as we can. And then also, I will tell you that we're here to listen this evening, and the commissioners, we don't plan on engaging in conversation with everybody. Again, this is more of a forum for us to hear everything that's being said, to take the notes, and again, to convey that to the committee that will be ultimately coming back to us, or the city will be coming back to us with a potentially revised application. So with that, then I think we should get started. And just a reminder, you're going to come up, you'll state your name and address for the record, and then we will start the timer at 4 minutes. Rich must be doing that for us. Okay. So is there do we want to go based on the sign-in sheet, or do we want to just start the process?
We had a resident fill out a resident comment card. Mark Albertario from 480 Greenbridge Lane.
Thank you, members of the committee. My name is Mark Albertario, 480 Greenbridge Lane in Prospect Heights. That's in Rob Roy. I don't have a dog in this fight. We already have rules limiting what you can park and what you can't park there. But I am precinct captain, and I do have some comments from people that couldn't be here tonight. I beg your indulgence, let me read them. From Gerald T. Anderson, who resides at 2 East Clarendon Street, Prospect Heights. Mr. Anderson and his wife have resided in Prospect Heights, the above address, since 1976, 1 year after the city was incorporated. The City of Prospect Heights was not held to standards dictated by communities surrounding Prospect Heights, and as such should not be going out to these communities to determine what our codes should be. What somebody else does should not dictate what we want or need. If this aesthetic point of view is so important, then place the proposal on the next city ballot. Everyone should be able to vote on these proposed changes in our city code. Look at all the small businesses that use their property any way they want, as long as it does not violate existing codes. You could be having a severe impact on these small businesses if you instituted the code changes. Without the handicapped or elderly people that want easy access to their vehicle and/or their portable storage devices in front of their homes, we haven't addressed that. By instituting these proposals, you force the homeowner to either drive or pull something over their lawn to get to the rear of the property. What would homeowners think if they had tire tracks all over their yard from rain or snow or both? Gerald Anderson.
And Mark, if you would be willing, we'd like to take these written
Sure.
and put them into
Record.
evidence for tonight. Thank you.
This is from Therese Boston, 308 School Lane, Prospect Heights. There's a public hearing this evening on changes in the commercial truck parking ordinance. I cannot attend the meeting this evening. However, I wish to have my concerns entered for the record. I am concerned that proposed changes would greatly impact many of my neighbors that need to park their trucks, trailers, or vans for use in their livelihood. I do not park any of the listed vehicles currently on my property. However, if I were to sell my home, I would like the buyer to be able to afford purchasing my home without an unnecessary burden being placed on them financially. The pictures of the vehicles parked in the driveways in the quarterly news are less offensive than some of the cars I've seen parked in the driveways. Okay, now my own words. Again, I don't have a dog in this fight. I live in Rob Roy, and we can't have trailers, we can't have semis, we can't have commercial vehicles of any plate designation. I say this. Most people say NIMBY, not in my backyard, when they want to build a prison or they want to build a sewage treatment plant. Not in my backyard. But in this case, someone have come up and said, not in your front yard. And they're imposing their aesthetic on me, on the property owner. Okay? Where will it stop? When you tell us what color to paint the house? Or what kind of roofing shingles to use? Where will it stop? I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mark.
Excuse me, Mark. Excuse me, Mark.
Mark, would you mind submitting the notes for evidence, please? Thank you.
Okay, who'd like to be next? Okay, if you, oh, that's okay. Okay.
David Zagwa, 206 Theory Lane. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. I'll be brief. I basically have 3 points. The first one, limited use. The second one, limited signage. And the third one, which I'm sure you're going to hear a lot tonight, is disruption of mature landscaping to put down paved or hard surfaces. I've been in business. I got my own little business over 30 years. It's in Glenview, live in Prospect Heights, also over 30 years. I've got the smaller B plates, a van and a pickup truck. Occasionally, I need to bring them home. Something else is being worked on. So I'm talking 20, 30 times a year tops. So I don't see how this could be construed as being fair. It's not an everyday occurrence, so I think you're going to have to consider a limited use option or a limited occurrence option. Secondly, the bigger of the vehicles is an E250 Ford van. On a panel van, you're talking approximately, and I'm being conservative, 5 feet by 10 feet, that's 50 square feet. My signage encompasses, including the space between the letters, because we're talking 2-inch letters, it's 1 foot by 2 foot, that's 2 square feet. So it's less than 5% of the sign of the van, but that would still be construed as signage. So here's another thing you have to think of. What is exactly going to be signage? 1 letter? You know, congratulations at homecoming, just got married, whatever. You know, so now you're going to have to define signage and the size of the signage versus a percentage of the vehicle. And I'm not talking the hood or the top. I'm just talking the panel, not even the doorways. Third, okay, where we live, we've been there over 30 years. So now you're telling me And I just heard about you can't park on the side within 5 feet of a sideline. Well, our garage is on the north, so immediately north of the garage, I got 2 or 3 feet of Canadian boxwoods. After that, I got another 2 feet of a sidewalk. I'm sure not gonna rip all that out. So now we're talking, I can't even park the vehicle on the side of the house, I'm gonna have to go behind the house. So now I'm gonna have to add 65 feet of either paved or hard surface coming off my driveway, tearing out mature landscaping, trees, bushes, existing 6-foot fence, tear all that out to add 65 feet of pavement. I mean, it makes no sense. You're talking disruption, total mature landscaping, and it's gonna be in the back of the house. Now, we're surrounded by 2-story houses, so the people on either side of us, the bedrooms are on the 2nd floor, you're gonna look down, I don't care what kind of screen I put in there, they're still gonna see the vehicle, so it's gonna defeat the whole purpose anyway, and whoever didn't see the vehicle, you're gonna see all this extra paved surface. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. I talk fast, those are my 3 points. Limited use, limited signage, disruption of mature landscaping to put down pavement. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Okay, did you want to come up next?
Frank Lopresti, 129 Gulfview Circle, Prospect Heights. I side with these people because they have businesses, but on the other hand, our community, Fairway Estates, are small lots, so we really don't have any side area to park trucks. So if you were to have D or any of them, we look out our window, it's in the driveway, it's going to disrupt everything, and they can't. It's impossible because of lot size to go ahead and put vehicles on the side or rear of the house without encroaching on your neighbor's property. So I think you have to keep in mind the property sizes to accommodate these trucks. It's not just trucks, it's the property size if they can accommodate.
Correct.
And if I just make one other comment, Kim, the city of Prospect Heights initiates ordinances and laws and that, but I don't know how they enforce them. You people may not have anything to worry about. You're not supposed to park on the street after there's 2 inches of snow. It's not enforced. You're not supposed to blow the snow back in the street. It's blown back in the street. It's not enforced. So this is just all ongoing things that you have initiated that aren't enforced. So that's my only other comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Roy Rushke, 21 South Wildwood Drive, Prospect Heights. So I've been living in this town now for 21 years. The main reason I moved to this town was because the other towns around us wouldn't allow us to park our trucks on the driveway. Therefore, we picked Prospect Heights to drive to. So and I'm sure I'm not alone. There's a lot of contractors that have moved here because of that reason. So now, you guys are enforcing a rule. How's that fair to all the contractors that bought houses here for the one reason only, is because we are allowed to bring our trucks home and park them on our driveways? So I just don't understand why now, after 21 years, that you guys decided to do this ordinance. You know, this is a blue-collar town. This isn't Arlington Heights. This isn't Northbrook. This is Prospect Heights, you know? So if we want to compete with that, with the other towns, then, you know, do something for the infrastructure around here. You know, we don't have a decent pool. We don't have a bunch of things we have. But you guys are very worried about aesthetics. Doesn't make any sense to me. Thank you.
Hi, Glenn Hanson, 407 Willow, West Willow. Prior to moving here, I was in Glenview and Northbrook for about 20 years. They have pretty strict codes there, too. And I think it was more of a live and let live situation. If a neighbor complained, they may have come around and said, you know, somebody's complaining about your truck. When I moved here, which never happened. Now, prior to moving here about 16 years ago, I drove around the area and saw about the same number of commercial, or not commercial, but B-type trucks like I have. Sign truck with a ladder rack. That was part of my decision for moving here. I figured it was an area where I could park the thing in the driveway, and it was accepted. I don't have another vehicle. I mean, this is my only vehicle that I have. I park it in the driveway. I don't have room between my garage and the lot next to me to put in a paved, even if I could get into the backyard with the thing. I'd be too close to the lot line. If I only paved it a certain amount of ways, I wouldn't have the 5 foot or whatever it is for egress and ingress to the van. So, I mean, it's either I'm parked in the driveway, or I don't know where I could go with it, because I can't get off the drive. That's where I'm at with it, and I probably got the same clearance issues as a lot of people here about where they're gonna put the thing if they can't park it in the driveway. The last thing I would like to suggest, if you decide you want to move forward with this restriction, if there was a way you could grandfather this thing as to residency and give all of us a chance to move, retire, or die.
Hi, my name is Mike Moser. I just had oral surgery, so my mouth is a little dry. Sorry about that. I'm at 203 Elm Street. My neighbor across the street, Bud Labicki, he was not able to be here. Scott Sabert, I don't know if he was able to show up. 205 Elm, that's Bud's 204 Elm. So I'm representing other people here, and I just wrote a few things down. Like Glenn, I only have one vehicle. It's a company-supplied vehicle. It's not my business. It's a company vehicle. So I don't own another car. This is just my vehicle. And so just to get to the point, I can't use only 4 minutes to try to explain how important my professional livelihood is. To people who I thought were looking out for the best interest of this community. It's unreasonable to make the assumption that everyone should be driving a BMW or some sort of SUV to work. This leftist superior ideology has no place in this close-knit community. It doesn't. We all live here, and we live here together. There will always be people offering up restrictive rules and laws that they themselves are not affected by. This legislation is by default choosing to alienate a segment, a large segment of our community that in most cases work hard for an honest wage. I ask that this board dismiss this overreaching proposal.
My name's David Dwyer. I live at 211 North Parkway. I moved here just going to be 20 years. And everybody's said the same thing that I've been thinking the whole way through, and you said there's going to be repetitiveness, and that's exactly what it is. I came here because I saw trucks in the driveways of homes. And when I was looking for a home, I left Chicago and came here. Restriction there, can't park trucks on the streets there. So I came here, I saw that I could do that. I bought a home here, lived here, enjoyed it. But this, to me, it's like, why are we being picked on? Because we have these vehicles that we need for work. I'm a heating service man. I have to leave in my truck when someone calls me. And where am I going to go? I need a ladder on the roof. I don't have a lettered truck. I will admit that. I do not have lettering on my truck. I do that for security reasons. Then they don't know what you have in your truck. But it still gets broken into. But that's beside the point. But I just feel it. Where am I going to park my truck? it's that simple. I mean, I feel like I'm gonna have a hardship by having to pave another area. Another thing with this paving that you're thinking of is, everybody's gonna have to go out and also have water studies done, because they're gonna be paving more of the you know, their property. So along with getting that permit to get the driveway isn't gonna be that easy, because now people are probably gonna go over their limit on their property of paving. So that was another problem. Another thing is, if somebody just doesn't like looking at trucks in driveways, that's their problem. I really feel like that about that. That's their problem. They don't like looking at it. It's too bad. You know what? I got to be honest. I don't like looking at stuff either. I don't like looking at tattoos. But you know what? There's nothing I can do about it. And because when I see a tattoo on somebody, I think they look dirty, and I don't mean morally. I mean like they need a bath. But there's nothing that I can do about that. And so I think trucks in the driveways of this hardworking area should just be forgotten about. And you guys should just, all you board members, I'm disappointed that you passed on this tonight. You should have voted this down tonight, over with, and we should be done.
Hi, I'm David Yeager, 300 East Olive. I came here tonight to talk about the B plates. I don't own a commercial truck. I've never owned a commercial truck. Some of my neighbors do. They keep their houses up, they keep their lawns up, and some of their commercial trucks are in better shape than the passenger vehicles parked on the block. But during Mr. Peterson's presentation, something I wasn't aware of, all of this paving, my block floods. That was because when we got swales 20 years ago, our block was made the holding tank for all the water. So my block floods, and if my neighbor has a truck, I would rather look at his truck, clean or dirty, than have my basement flood because he paved the side of his house. Thank you.
Neil Rogers, 405 West Willow Road. A lot of these people are my neighbors. I look out their windows of their trucks every day. So I have a trailer. I moved to Prospect Heights for the lot size. I moved out here because I could probably have my trailer on my property. My trailer is 130 feet off the street right now. It is on a gravel pad next to my driveway, which I think right now is good with you guys. For how long? I asked that question. I grew up in Morton Grove. Morton Grove went down the same route. They banned vehicles with racks and signs. They had to be in a garage. They had to be behind a fence. Then they went after just if you had a B plate. My pickup truck, my Avalanche, which is nicer than most people's cars, they wanted to make it illegal to park that on my driveway, visible from the street. So it was an incremental grasp on their behalf. And I asked the question, you've probably seen my house. I'm the house on Willow Road that's got the giant lake in it every time it rains. And I've been trying to get something done about it since I bought the house 13 years ago. Get something done about the fact that a lot of people in the neighborhood, the ditches are gone. Nobody cares about that. But if you start implementing people pouring slabs and putting in impermeable surfaces to park vehicles on in the neighborhoods, the water that comes within 5 feet of my house is probably going to get even closer. So you're going to impact my life one way or another. If you put into the fact that these people are going to have to increase the size of their driveway, put drive-arounds to the back of their house, that water is going someplace, and it's probably coming down the street into my house. Same thing, I put a gravel pad for my trailer just so the water would drain down and not pool and run towards the house. You need to really consider the impact of these surfaces on the neighborhoods. I have a big lot. It's a half-acre lot. But the water in my front yard, it's 2 feet deep when it rains. And I can get nothing done about it. And every time it rains, I worry about it. And I worry where the water comes from. And I look where the water comes from. And it's gonna, if it doesn't drain into the ground, it's draining into my basement. You know, I built a garage under the current codes, and I put the pad next to the garage. With your new rules, it's gonna have to be approved by you. It may not make your approval. I have no place else to go with my trailer. And aside from the fact I pour a giant pad in my backyard to parking on, which now, where's all that water gonna go? So you really need to consider more than just the aesthetic impact, but the financial impact you're gonna make to all these people who live in these neighborhoods. with the water issue, or that, or somebody get somebody sewers on our side of Willow Road. Then we could have a different conversation. But I've been trying for 13 years to get the water problem on my street solved, and I think what you're gonna do with this is probably make it worse.
Thank you, Neil.
Hello, my name is Marty Lazarus. I live at 13 Glenbrook Drive. I don't own a truck, and my wife and I moved here in February. And one of the many reasons we moved to Prospect Heights was because it looked like a welcoming, friendly, working-class community. I think this, and of course this is my personal opinion, that there is a point at which you can't regulate everything. If neighbors disagree about one thing or another, if they are offended by the trucks or the view in their neighbor's driveway, then I think it's incumbent on those neighbors to walk next door and talk to their neighbor. I think this is one of the things that can be worked out neighbor by neighbor, and with the existing regulations in place, selective enforcement when a neighbor complains gives the village the authority to deal with these issues on a case-by-case basis. I don't think there's any need, as many of us have said here tonight, for additional onerous restrictions on parking in driveways. Thank you.
Thank you, Marty.
I'm Ronald Pryor. I live at 1015 East Wildwood Drive. And I'm here to say that I hope you vote yes in all the opposition behind me, because I've lived here for over 45 years. And it wasn't this way when I moved here. We didn't have all these vehicles. You want to see what I see in my front yard, from my front yard?
So Ronald, if you could address the board, I think that'd be more productive, so we could hear.
Well, I wanted
right.
to show the
Well,
picture. This is what I see.
all right.
When I looked up the other city codes,
Give them a chance.
Wheeling, I believe it was Wheeling, they allowed you 2 square feet on your door panel for your advertising of your job. So, now people might think it's very restrictive on having to put in concrete, but there's a lot of people that have these vehicles. They don't put them in their garage. They leave them on their driveway, like this colorful vehicle that I brought. I don't see anything wrong with restricting large trucks with large writings on them of the owners. But I know all these people are hardworking people. I think all the people in our community are hardworking people. But there has to be some civility. This is a residential area. It's not a truck parking area. Residential means for the resident.
Thank you, Ronald.
You're welcome.
No.
What?
There's a lot of guts.
Thank you.
First one.
I know. Yeah.
Hi, Richard Blanchard, 1112 North Drury Lane, Arlington Heights. Lived in Prospect Heights for 38 years, voted to become Prospect Heights instead of Arlington Heights. Been driving a pickup truck. Happens to have a D plate because it has 4 tires on the back. That's it. 4 tires. I drive it for fun. I drive it because I like it. I drive it because I was on a tollway with some weight in the back of my half-ton pickup truck with 2 rear tires and had the tire break off the axle at 70 miles an hour. The next week, I bought a truck with 4 tires on the back of the truck so that I would never hurt somebody, myself, again. I don't want that to happen. So my whole issue is, I have a pickup truck with 4 rear tires. I'm sorry, it has to have a D plate. I actually plated it with a B plate and was told you can't do it, even though the truck's been weighed and doesn't weigh 8,000 pounds. But I have to have this plate because I have 4 tires on the back of my truck. That's just not a way to tell me I can no longer park my truck in my driveway because I have 4 tires on the back. It's a safety issue for me. It's a fun thing. I drive it every single day of the week. I don't think it's really fair to tell me that, now, it's been in that driveway for 8 years. When I do not have an easement on the side of my house, I don't have 10 feet. When I went to add on to my house 28 years ago, I had to get a variance so that I could move my house out 6 inches, so the front of the house would match the back. I don't have 10 feet on the side of my house to be able to move my truck to the side of the house. My truck does not sit on the street. My truck does not sit in front of anybody's house. It's in my driveway at all times. I think because I'm not a business and because it's my personal use, and I have a lot of fun with it, I like the truck, I feel very safe in it, and I don't feel I'm gonna hurt somebody in it. That I shouldn't now have to be told I can no longer have something I feel safe in. Because the city of Prospect Heights says, you have a pickup truck with 4 tires on the back. That's all we're talking about here, guys. 4 tires instead of 2.
Thank you, Richard.
Thanks, guys.
Jim Kleinschmidt, 410 West Clarendon Street. I'm not a business owner, but I do have an 18-foot trailer. It's got a C-plate on it. So I'm thinking, what's he gonna go after next, the C-plate trailers? I also live down the street from the guy with the bucket truck. I don't care. That's how he gets back and forth to work every day. There's another guy across the street, he's a contractor of some kind. I don't know what he is, but he has a dump truck he has there. He's usually parked next to the house. I don't care what he does. The guy down the street has a sandwich shop. He comes home with a sandwich truck every so often, the box truck, and it's parked in the driveway. Who cares? These guys are making money. And paying taxes. Your salary.
I don't get paid.
I know you don't
For
get
the record, yeah, I do not get paid. No one's paying my salary or anybody else up here.
But what I'm saying is,
Right.
it's not hurting anybody. My trailer is parked in the back. I happen to have enough space between my house to put up, I got a permeable paver driveway going back to my 4-car garage I got in back, which the trailer will not fit into. And I park it next to that on a cement pad. I do have flooding issues. I got a neighbor behind me that no one ever wants to do anything about, the water running from his backyard after he built that monstrosity, and all the water from his backyard runs into my yard. I've come in this talk to you guys many times about. Had pictures showing the running water. Do you do anything? Nah. Just walk away. Why don't you do something important, like getting flooding taken care of, and things like that, instead of hassling these people who have a livelihood?
Thank you, Jim.
I'm Joel Steffens, and I live at 301 East Clarendon, Prospect Heights, and I love this community. I was born and raised in Glenview. My dad was a carpenter, had his truck. This came up, he had to quit his business because he couldn't have his truck anymore. Luckily, he was retiring. I moved to Northbrook. I saw it come up in Northbrook. I've lived in Prospect Heights 32 years, and again, as many people have stated, I came out to it because it's a nice rural place where people all get along, and it's a nice community where you can do certain things. I don't think this should go through. I don't know why it came up, who the applicant is. If it's just you guys are the applicant causing this, I think it's totally wrong. And I think it should just be left the way it is.
Thank you, Joel.
Roman Zelek, 10 Countryside Lane. Dear members of PZBA, I don't own a business, I don't own a truck or pickup or even a minivan. When I read the newsletter, it just struck me right away when I saw this picture. I don't know if this, is anybody knows if those pictures were taken in one day, the same day, or there was some sent from the residence? Anybody knows? I mean, I don't know, I just want to ask the board.
Some of those pictures were taken from active complaints that the city had received complaints. Some were taken as part of putting the presentation together to show the council what would be compliant under the current code, because that's what the question was directed of staff back last July is, our commercial vehicle code is what? And so the best way for me as staff to show that is to go take some pictures. So most of those pictures were taken either from our complaint log or that I took to show to the council back in July how vehicles complied or didn't comply with the current
So my understanding is based on 5 pictures or 5 complaints, you are changing ordinance? Is there any record of complaints, or I don't know? Just a question. Is there any record on the past year, 12 months of complaints? Because if 5 people called, 2 people called about that complaining, or 100 or 200? I'm just want to know.
That's a valid question, and you're
Right?
absolutely, and you are
Because if it
entitled
is
to.
on the complaints of 3 people, which I understand it has to be taken seriously, any complaint, but if it is based, this changes of ordinance based on 2 or 3, 5
Right.
neighbors, angry neighbors,
Right, we
some
can-
people are
we
angry
can
no matter
share some
what.
information with you,
It
absolutely.
just, so I just want to ask you to just dismiss, based on the, 5 pictures, or I can go to Arlington Heights, I assure you I'm going to find 10 pictures tonight, driving around. Or I'm going to go to Wheeling.
You asked a question, sir.
Okay.
To give perspective, and this is based on the current code with just D plates. This is not talking about any of the other issues. In 2017, the city had 12 complaints on D truck violations. Folks.
Guys, listen, excuse me, listen, we are providing you with these facts, right? So for everybody, and again, you have to remember, the people sitting up here, like, we are volunteers, we are not the applicant, okay? I'm not the city applying for this.
I
And
understand.
Dan is just presenting the information that
Right.
you have to do. So the people up here, we are not asking for this, we are just the body that is considered, but I just want the group to know, again, this is not something that the, 6 or 7 of us conjured up with. We're here to listen to the.
That newsletter,
app-
it just struck me, like I said, I got a couple of friends who live far away, it just, I have a neighbor who's got not a trailer, it's a camper. I don't care, it's some, I just want to know the basis,
Right, so
based
maybe
on
Director
12
Peterson could continue and just state the facts then, so again, everybody
Right.
can.
I just want to ask dear members of PZBA, just dismiss this and, because it's going to be more people next time,
Thank you.
because it's going to spread. Thank you.
In 2017, to answer your question, okay, because you asked a direct question, which is a viable question, the city had 12 total D and F plate violations. Remember, the code only addresses D and F plate violations. Of those 12, all of them were in the R1 district. 6 cases were F plate trucks, which are not permitted anyway, but folks brought F plate trucks home, of which 5 of those were, when the owner was informed of the rules, complied. One of them that we have has been issued citations, and we are doing enforcement. Out of the remaining 6 D plates, we did get some compliance, we did get some people to move, and we did have an individual apply for a garage. So when they were informed what the code was, we got compliance. However, the question that was asked of staff in July by the council was to go out and give an analysis of what is out there. Okay, that's what was provided, and that's where this came from, because you asked how this came about. So this is where we came in. Additionally, council members have heard that there are, this perspective of full wrapped vehicles, that how does this fit in the community? Other things. So we were asked to look at these various deals from a staff perspective in a committee. we're presenting this to the public to present it, to hear from you, and if it's not right, we will work on it. But that's what part of the process here this evening, is to listen to what you have to say.
A few days ago, I wanted to be here, okay, after reading this newsletter again. I went to the Mine Prospect website and actually checked it. And it's a really kind of mild ordinance over there. It says if you do not have a room on the side of the house or in the rear of the house, just park it as close as possible to the garage. It's very simple. I mean, that's something could work, right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pat Cusack, 200 South Wheeling Road.
Pat?
Yeah, Pat, P-A-T.
How do you spell your last name?
C-U-S-A-C-K. First of all, thanks for your service to the city. Just wanted to acknowledge that off the top. I just moved to Prospect Heights in November, and I'm a small business owner, landscape snow removal. I have 2 B-plate trucks and a plow, 2 plows, and an enclosed trailer. And I live off of Wheeling Road. It's a busy street, and I have a huge circle drive. So I bought this house, because I knew I could fit all my equipment there. I'm kind of curious as how do I comply in the current code? Maybe that's a question I'll have to ask you later or whatever.
If you'd like to call and set a time.
But one of my neighbors is here, Chris, and he doesn't have a problem with, the equipment. And my other neighbor hasn't said anything. I met the neighbor in the back, and they haven't said anything. And I live across from Rob Roy, the golf course. The golf course is across the street, but then there's, the Rob Roy people back there. I don't know. I've never heard anything from them. But again, are my trucks that big of a problem that, oh, I mean, are they that, because there's a busy street right in front of me. So maybe is there a case-by-case scenario that could go on? Because, I don't understand. I have more than enough room on the driveway, not even on I don't need to put the stuff on the grass or on the, it's a half-acre lot. So anyway, that's why I moved to Prospect Heights. I checked the code. From my understanding, the ordinance said that everything was good. I'd like to put signs on. I used to live in Des Plaines, but they didn't allow signs, so I didn't want to, ruffle feathers. I don't want huge signs. I just want something maybe with my number on it or whatever. Anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
Hi, my name is Margaret Surma. I live at 401 West Olive. I don't have a business. I don't have a truck with a sign on it. And I don't care if they're parked all over the street, all over the block, all over the city. It does not bother me at all. I think the people in this town are all middle-class, hardworking people. Many of them run their businesses from their homes. They took this town through a very bad time several years ago when the economy was bad, times were bad, people were working, paying their taxes, supporting your stores, supporting everything in this town, supporting your schools, park districts. Excuse me, I get very passionate about this. And I think that doing something like this is just kicking them in the behind and telling them, okay, we don't want you here anymore, get out. I came from Chicago. I grew up in Chicago in an area where there were middle-class folks. Guy next door was a plumber. On the other side was an electrician, mechanic. You went to them, you got your car fixed, you got your plumbing fixed, you got your electricity fixed. That's how middle-class people live. That's how we live in this town. That's how we want to continue living in this town. Folks that are coming here, someone coming here doesn't like it, there are plenty of other towns they can live in. They don't have to live in this one. Illinois is a big state. If you don't like a truck in the front driveway in front of your house, move to another town. But don't make a whole town. But don't make the whole town pick up and leave, because that's what you're doing. You're going to have a lot of for sale signs out there. These people can't afford to build new driveways. They can't afford to lose their businesses. So consider that. Consider that you'll be driving down the street with empty homes, for sale signs, and how quickly are those going to get filled? How quickly are those going to get sold? And how much taxes are you going to be able to collect then? Thank you.
Everyone has said, thank you so much for great meeting. I have one problem.
Excuse me, sir, I could not hear your name, I'm sorry.
Okay, my name is Jan Nowotarski, Nowotarski. Okay, my problem is only one, because I don't speak perfect English. I understand 99%. We have a moral friends with working hard. I was moving to Prospect Heights 10 years ago. If I build in my house, I have one ticket for $100 because I make fire under the construction. Before I did the fire, little, I go to the fire department, I ask the guy, I can do it or not? Yeah, you can do it only in some drums. I don't do it in the drums. Police officer is coming, give me ticket $100. I pay because I want to live in this city with the law. Right now, I have 2 cars. My wife, she got one, and I have a second one. And I have a couple different trucks. For the old trucks, I rent a space in Wheeling, and the commercial area, I pay $800 every month. For my van, I pay every year ticket, not like for the passenger cars, only much, much bigger. Right now, I have a question. What I can do it? I'm working 14 hours every day, expect winter. This is why I buy, white car, because if the winter is snow is white, my car is white, nobody see it, okay? Believe me, this is true. Right now, my driveway is white, long, okay? I don't have a chance go with my car on the different place. I was thinking maybe somebody can give me some space from the city. Maybe we have a lot of room. Maybe we can make it for everybody. I have 2 bikes. I can driving, Only I cannot do it nothing right now. This is why I was last week in Poland. I was looking for some property to moving over there. Only I'm too young. I need 2 more years to be retired. And I have to stay 2, maybe 3 years. After this, maybe I die. I don't know. Only please help for everybody, from my friend, for my neighbors. What I love this, because this is city, this is not village. I laughing because if I come in from Wheeling, this was a village, okay? Now I'm proud because I'm living city. Only I'm working like crazy, 14 hours every day. I needed just 10 hours for my van in the night. This is free. Second things. What is difference? If I have a van, white or black or red, I put the license plate B. I can parking. What is the difference if I put on the same van license plate D? It's nothing different for my neighbors, what they like me, because I don't have a problem with my neighbors. It's the same car, just the different, plate. This is something's wrong. And I hope so, this is lots of people here. We working because I pay 20,000 taxes for my property every year. I don't have a small kids. I have a grandchildren. My kids go, are already out of the schools. I pay on the school for everything. Only I don't care because it's low. Right now, it's little problem with the parking area for the few trucks. I understand. No more like one. I agree. Only one car if somebody have, because I have to drive into Wheeling to working, okay? I cannot driving, after 40 hours, back to my home on the bike. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Kurt Geeler, Briodine, East Cap McDonald, Prospect Heights. I'd like to open with why I moved to Prospect Heights. I don't own a truck, so I'm not going to be penalized for anything like that. It's not my ox, it's being gored on that way. I guess I am being gored on a trailer issue. But I want to let you guys know that the reason I moved here was I'm an architect, and doing what architects do, we have to plead our case. in front of zoning boards, in this case, all over the North Shore. And about 25, no, about, oh God, now it's been about 30 years. I need a place to live, and I was shopping for a community. And having been in front of many of these zoning boards on the North Shore, I noticed that many of these boards and the residents that would come and plead their case, they were totally being abused. And, because at that time I was Mr. Big Time developer person, so they would always cater to me. But I'd see residents like this plead their case before the boards, and I get everything I want, but these people would get screwed. And I said to myself, I do not want to live in a community like that. That's why I picked Prospect Heights. Prospect Heights had a perfect mixture of white and blue-collar people. What you're looking at here, I presume, are we're clearly all middle class. I think, and I don't mean to insult anybody, but I think that's what happens here. That's what I like. That's why we moved here. And what I'm asking you is to not become that snooty, arrogant board that I see so often along the North Shore. So now, I want to also comment on this gentleman here who is pro this ordinance. My suggestion to him, and that's the same suggestion I give to anybody who doesn't like what their neighbor's doing, other than noise, something like that. First is go talk to your neighbor. But in this case, we all have either half-acre or three-quarter-acre lots, with the exception of Rob Roy. What I'm going to suggest is, why do you make your neighbor who owns the truck screen his truck? You know what? You have a half-acre. Plant some shrubs on your property so you don't have to look at that. Rather than repeat, what we've kind of been through on what everyone said, but I think the costs associated with implementing this ordinance, paving, along the side, and in some cases you can't do it because of the side yard setback, and well, I guess the setback on the house combined with the property line encroachment, it just isn't, it's not practical. And then, like I say, you're defeating the purpose of having this aesthetic thing by just paving over, ripping out perfectly good landscaping. I mean, to be honest, I think the ordinances that you have now are just fine, and there's no reason to change them. Thank you.
Let's first get the 4 minute, if anyone else wants to use their 4 minutes.
Radoslav Bloch, 119 Garden.
Ron? Russ, I'm sorry.
Radoslav Bloch, RADOSLAW, BLOCH, 119 Garden Lane. I do not own a van. I hate vans. They're ugly. I hate pickups. They're ugly. I own small set. I'm sorry, guys, but I do support middle class, and I support workers. And I truly believe any change of ordinance will have huge impact in their pockets and also on election. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Mariusz Folta, 1225 Stratford Road in Arlington Heights, which is Prospect Heights. I don't want to be in your shoes. I've been standing in front of you a few times, and we've been always pleading with you to do the right thing. And, it's obviously you're Prospect Heights residents also, and just by looking so many people here, I've been coming to the meetings, and I never see so many people present and against something like this. I don't own the truck. I don't own the business truck. I used to own the van, big van. And 2 years ago, I received a notice on my truck, on my van, that two wheels, left wheels, were 10 inches into the grass. So I was in violation of the rule. I mean, this was all only a warning. I didn't get the ticket for that. But I'm thinking about this, that, the city, we all live here, we all pay taxes, and you know, we take care of our property the right way. You know, we don't want to have a garbage around. We maintain the property. And something like this, to go after the owners of the businesses. And this is, one member said that, what's the difference between the B truck or is it the color of the truck? It's just the license plate. And, you know, I have I have neighbors, they have a B trucks and with the signage. I'm looking at just a car. This is just a car. They driving this car, they making a living, and I don't care. So I wish, you know, I know there's members of the city council here tonight, and they're gonna hear what, and they're gonna see how many people come over and they're against that they're gonna withdraw that policy. Thank you very much.
Okay, anyone else, or do we feel, okay?
Hello, my name is Patricia Lenar, and I live at 518 Greenbridge Lane in Prospect Heights at Rob Roy. I am a business owner. I have a small van, and I do live at the country club, and I can fit my van in the garage, luckily. I wish I had a big van, but I don't see any reason to change, you know, the ordinances that we have right now. With all respect to everyone here that might be the heating and air guy or the painter that comes to our homes to help us in an emergency late in the middle of the night, these guys have to get up early. Maybe the one gentleman that mentioned that he has to go drive somewhere else, pay rent $800 to park his vehicle somewhere else. I feel really bad for him that he has to spend that kind of money and get up early to drive somewhere else. These guys are working long hours as it is, 14, 17-hour days. And I think it really is a terrible thing to make them have to park somewhere else or incur additional expense.
Thank you.
Is there anybody out on the outside that didn't get a chance to? Okay.
Hey, my name is Greg Bortoski, 106 South School. You know, before I bought my house here, I actually called the village, just as back then I used to work for a company. Now I own my own company, and I specifically asked, can I park my commercial vehicle truck in the driveway? And it's a heating and cooling truck. And I said, yeah, no problem, absolutely. I'm like, cool, great, I'm moving in here. And then tore down the house, rebuilt, spent money, paid money into the city, and then get this notice in the mail telling me, hey, what the F? Am I supposed to move out of here? I mean, I don't have street lights. I don't have sidewalks. I mean, this is not a suburb. Like you go to Norris, Howard Heights, Franklin Park. I mean, this is Prospect Heights. I mean, it's like country over here. And I mean, I got well water. I don't even have city water. And then my garbage bill went up like 300%. And now I gotta spend like $10,000 to pour a driveway, tear down my gate that I just paid a permit for. I mean, this is BS. I mean, people are gonna move out. I mean, I might move out. I mean, this is outrageous.
Thank you.
Good evening. Mary DeZagua, 206 Theory Lane. You mentioned there were 12 complaints, but I'm wondering from how many individuals were the complaints?
I don't have that information. Why not?
Is that something we could look up? I mean, I don't even know if it's, I don't.
The complaints were generated by both private callers, residents who called in, and also we do have an active code enforcement program. We do things, so some of them were enforcement officer driven, about 50-50. So I can't tell you who the calls are, but I can tell you we did get resident complaints.
You said 50-50 from the police, so there'd be 6 police.
We
and
have
then
we have a code enforcement officer that works for the department, for the building department. That's his job.
Okay, so it could be 6 individual residents complained and 6 were initiated
By the city inspector, yes.
I think that's an important thing to consider.
So,
Thank you, Mary.
Hi, my name is Roger Whiteman. The address is 14 West Leon Lane. I'm just going to read the email that I sent my alderman, if that's all right.
Thank you.
I simply have a B plate, a very nice looking service truck with no lettering, I never have, but I do have a ladder rack, which means it would never fit in a traditional garage. I have no existing space to hide it with a fence, and putting it on the side of my house would require an entirely new driveway area and fence. I can't afford the many thousands of dollars to do that. My business is 24 hours a day. I do HVAC and electrical work, and my office is in my home. This means that I can get called anytime, day or night, to help someone out with no heat, no air conditioning, or no power. I cannot be parking somewhere else, far away, having to have a second vehicle to travel back and forth just to get my service truck, only to be called on a second service call and then have to do that again. I have lived here for 18 years and neatly parked my truck on one side of my driveway. Shouldn't some of us at least be grandfathered in because of our long-standing time in this community? This is an unreasonable request. I ask you to consider everything that's been said here tonight, and especially just because I have a ladder. I don't even have signage, so just because I have a ladder, it won't fit in my garage. You're going to reject me parking in my driveway. Thank you.
Thank you.
oh, thank you very much. Has anybody else want to add in, or are you just fine? Okay. Just want to make sure you guys had an opportunity.
Wait, what?
Hold on.
So, sir, listen, the city has already asked for the application to be tabled. What's the word? Right, so, right.
Hi, my name is Sharon Hoffman. I live at 103 Owen Place in Prospect Heights. I've lived in this community for 36 years. My husband has a business in Arlington Heights, but he does have a truck. Now, he could probably park his truck over at his business if he had to, but he worries about break-ins and things like that. We use some of the businesses here in Prospect Heights, and I know the mayor is very interested in us taking care of our own businesses. And so I think with the hearing of all these complaints about changing the ordinances and due to just a small number of complaints, I think we really just need to really listen to what's going on here. And I know myself, I have across the street, there's a contractor. I have a contractor on the, they have their trucks. I mean, I don't see them being as any more disruptive than some of the cars that I see parked that are old or in disarray. So we've lived here, like I said, all these years, and contractors come and go, and I think people live here because of the ordinances and because they don't feel like they have to be superimposed upon. I know if there are complaints and code enforcements are done, sounds like they're being taken care of. So I really think this is just way, way overkill. And I ask that you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Okay, so are we going to?
We can call for any of the PZBA has. Vote, please.
Okay, so before we close the public hearing, I wanted to see if there was any comments from the commissioners this evening.
All right, my name is Neil Patel. I live in Prospect Heights and lived here for about 7 years now. Listen, we're here to listen. We didn't make this rule. We're here to listen to you guys. You guys got to understand that. We're here. You guys have the community's appointed us to work on your behalf. We appreciate everyone coming out here, but some of these comments are, and we're here to help. We're not here to hurt anyone. We do understand this is middle class. Just about everyone on this board is probably middle class. So you guys got to give us a little faith in trying to do the right thing. Be patient on it. When you're asking us to vote tonight, you want us to make a quick knee-jerk reaction? I doubt it. Let us think about it. Let's figure out what's right. I understand. Okay, but what I'm telling you guys is give the board a chance to make a good decision. We understand what the community is made up of. We do.
All right, listen.
Okay, listen.
Wait, listen. So we closed the comments from the public, okay? So these are from the commissioners right now.
So you guys got to be a little patient on this. We're not making this rule tonight and making your trucks go tomorrow. No one's even considering that. We understand what the community is about. I've been on this board for about a year now. The board really considers what this community is about. We don't try to act like Glenville. We're never going to. So be patient and understand we're going to take everything in consideration that was taken into everyone spoke tonight. That's what's going to happen. And that's all I say, just be a little patient on it. This is not something we're going to make a decision, a knee-jerk reaction on. And we understand what your thoughts are.
I'd like to make a comment. I've lived in Prospect Heights 25 years. I am a general contractor. I have a Bobcat. I have a trailer. I have trailers that are lettered. I have a truck, a pickup truck. It doesn't have a rack on it. It hurts me to see you guys out here complaining. We are a recommending body. We do not, yes, we do vote, but we don't make the final decision. So give us time to see if we can work this out, either dismiss it or whatever we need to do. I do not want to hurt each and every one of you. I understand we all make a living here. So give us a chance. This was basically given to us as a hand grenade with the pin pulled. We serve up here. We don't get paid. We were asked to be on the committee here. Do we always agree with what's put in front of us? No. And I am not for this, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not for this. It goes too far. It hurts too many of my neighbors that are contractors. And I think we are all here because we like the acreage, we like the small town community, we like our neighbors, and we want to keep it this way. So give us a chance. Let's go through the process, and we'll go from there.
Machi, did you have any, Commissioner?
No comments.
Okay. Commissioner Tamman?
I'm probably the longest-serving board member. Over 20 years. I live in this community. I love this community. Give us a chance to make a good decision. We've heard what you had to say this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Mellon? One second, please.
I have no additional comments.
Thank you. So, wait, please, 1 second here. Okay, so before we close the public hearing, I just wanted to add a few thoughts myself. Again, I've pretty much born and raised in Prospect Heights. As a newly married person, I also decided to buy a home in Prospect Heights. My husband is a small business owner. I have a B-plate pickup truck in my driveway, right? So I get this. Again, I just want to reiterate what we're saying up here. We are your neighbors. We are your peers, okay? So obviously there has been some input to warrant revisiting this code, okay? And like I said in the beginning, maybe there are a few things in here that could use some improvement. Maybe a few of these things are way overboard, okay? So again, give us an opportunity to, this is the first time we're seeing this. This is the first time we're getting feedback from you all as a community. So give us a chance to go through it. And as I understand it now, there'll be a committee. If you're interested in being in the committee, please come up. I'll put a tablet up here. You can put your name, maybe your email address or your phone number, and we'll start taking some applicants for the committee. And again, be patient. Hopefully the next application that comes in front of us is more in line with what we're hearing tonight. And I encourage you to come back when it comes before us again, to, again, find out what's being proposed. And At that time, the commissioners will all do our best to hopefully make either approve or make a positive recommendation or negative recommendation based on what's put in front of us.
Chairman Dash, may I speak to the?
Absolutely.
I reiterate the request for the continuance to be on the February 22nd PZBA meeting for a status update. I encourage folks that are here to, we've heard your sentiment and stuff, but a lot of people didn't speak. If you have some specific comments that you would like to see, and maybe there's something in here that you agree with. I heard a comment on tonight, maybe limited usage, limited signage, maybe limited height. So if those are the types of things that those are some things that we are looking to try and get to maybe see if there's things in here that can make this ordinance work. We're not here because people didn't raise it. You know, council brought this to staff's attention and we were directed to move forward with this. So they've heard it from residents in. They may not be here tonight, but I think if we give this a chance and you give some productive, positive, constructive ideas, we can do that. If it's not, then it's not, but we ask for 1 month to work on it.
Thank you. Okay, so I would like to request a motion to continue the public hearing on application number ZBA 17-13TA.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Jen, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Kempa.
Aye.
Commissioner DeGraff.
Aye.
Commissioner Tamman.
Aye.
Commissioner Patel.
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon.
Aye.
Chairman Dash.
Aye. Okay, so the meeting will be at 7 p.m. next month on February 22nd. February 22nd. We don't have any new business this evening. Any communications?
Yes, besides the continuation of this hearing, there will be 2 additional applications next month.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, with no further business, do I hear a motion to adjourn the January 25th, 2018 Planning and Zoning Board of Appeals meeting?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.